That man lives badly who does not know how to die well. Before I became old, I tried to live well. Now that I am old, I shall try to die well, but dying well means dying gladly. Given that all must die, it is better to die with distinction than to live long. At the end of my life, with just one breath left, if you come, I'll sit up and sing. I cannot escape death, but at least I can escape the fear of it. It is not death that a man should fear, but rather he should fear never beginning to live. Only those are fit to live who do not fear to die, and none are fit to die who have shrunk from the joy of life and the duty of life. Both life and death are parts of the same great adventure. Our fear of death is like our fear that summer will be short, but when we have had our swing of pleasure, our fill of fruit, and our swelter of heat, we say we have had our day. Too busy with the crowded hour to fear to live or die. How much more suffering is caused by the thought of death than by death itself? I am not afraid of death, I just don't want to be there when it happens. Do not fear death so much, but rather the inadequate life. Healthy children will not fear life if their elders have integrity enough not to fear death. When your time comes to die, be not like those whose hearts are filled with fear of death, so that when their time comes they weep and pray for a little more time to live their lives over again in a different way, sing your death song, and die like a hero going home. He who doesn't fear death dies only once. The fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. The fear of death is the most unjustified of all fears, for there's no risk of accident for someone who's dead. Even death is not to be feared by one who has lived wisely. The art of living well and the art of dying well are one. The art of living well and the art of dying well are one. If you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. If you are not afraid of dying, there is nothing you cannot achieve. No evil is honorable, but death is honorable. Therefore death is not evil. The act of dying is one of the acts of life. Death is not an evil. What is it then? The one lawmaking has that is free of all discrimination. Don't behave as if you are destined to live forever. What's fated hangs over you. As long you live, and while you can, become good now. Death is beautiful when seen to be a law and not an accident. It is as common as life. If you don't know how to die, don't worry. Nature will tell you what to do on the spot. Fully and adequately, she will do this job perfectly for you. Don't bother your head about it. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. What doesn't transmit light creates its own darkness. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Let each thing you would do, say, or intend be like that of a dying person. It seems to me that if you or I must choose between two courses of thought or action, we should remember our dying and try so too live that our death brings no pleasure on the world. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. I learned that every mortal will taste death, but only some will taste life. When a man comes to die, no matter what his talents and influences and genius, if he dies unloved, his life must be a failure. The Hymen is dying a cold horror. Intellectual growth should commence at birth and cease only at death. Before death takes away what you are given, give away what there is to give. Death is nothing but to live. Defeated and inglorious is to die daily. If a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. It is not length of life, but depth of life. Some people die at 25 and aren't buried until 75. I shall not die of a cold, I shall die of having lived. To be idle is a short road to death, and to be diligent is a way of life. Foolish people are idle, wise people are diligent. There's something about death that is comforting. The thought that you could die tomorrow frees you to appreciate your life now. Everyone is so afraid of death, but the real sophists just laugh. Nothing tyrannizes their hearts. What strikes the oyster shell does not damage the pearl. About death, whether it is a dispersion or a resolution into atoms or annihilation, it is either extinction or change. The day which we fear as our last is but the birthday of eternity. Our death is our wedding with eternity.